Hi there. I'm Cameron McMichael. I just graduated with a degree in philosophy from the University of San Francisco, but I've been studying audio production on the side, and it's what I'm really passionate about and what I want to do. Um, in true philosophical vein, I want to talk about what timbre is, really. Like, what is timbre? I feel like this is extremely interesting because timbre is almost always the first reason we like or dislike music or sound in general. Like if you hear an old guy's voice, it might sound all croaky and deep to you, and you don't like that. But then you hear a woman's voice, and it sounds pure and rich, and that is a sound quality that's appealing to you. And that's talking about tone, that's timbre. So, what we learned in the first lesson is that sound is a pressure wave moving through a medium. And in describing sound, we have the amplitude, which is the energy in the wave, aka the compression or rarefaction of air. Then we have the frequency, which is how fast the waves are coming per second, or the oscillation of the waves. But then we have this thing, timbre, which is the quality of the sound. It's how we can tell the difference between a piano playing C and a guitar playing C, provided they were both at the same frequency, amplitude, and source of propagation. Um, Now we can just accept it at that and say, okay, timbre is the sound's color or tone. But what is that? Um, what inspired me to think about timbre a little more deeply was this Wikipedia quote that said that timbre has been called the psychoacoustician's multidimensional wastebasket category for everything that cannot be labeled pitch or loudness. So, what is that? I want us to get a sense of that by the end of this video. First of all, you can't talk about timbre without talking about harmonics. Harmonics are distinct frequencies which are vibrating along with the fundamental. Timbre can be thought of as the sum total of harmonics in a sound. So timbre is the combination of multiple frequencies being processed in our brain at the same time. Now, the more I looked into harmonics, I started to get other names coming up, and I wondered what is the difference between harmonics, transients, partials, overtones, also known as the overtone series, the harmonic series, or the partial series. And this is what I found, and I might be wrong, so please correct me if I am, that harmonics are the integer multiples of the fundamental frequency, so they're a very neat and orderly group. The overtones could be a range of dissonant frequencies, that is, there's a degree of inharmonicity, which might be a word or not, to the sounds, and taken all together, these overtones are called partials, or taken in little bundles, they're called partials. And then there are these transients, which are high amplitude, short duration sounds at the beginning of the waveform. So all these are just different names for frequencies that aren't the fundamental. But we can't really hear these other frequencies in a sound except the fundamental and on occasion a bit of harmonics. So what is really happening in our brain or ear is that it's simplifying the sound for it to make sense to us. So what timbre is, again, is this really subconscious thing, which is kind of interesting to think about. It's the simultaneous sounds of a particular fundamental frequency plus divisions of that in various ratios. Now, I want to show you, I want to write a little thing. I hope you can see this. Now, this is kind of the image that brought it home for me. So say we have a note that occurs from a violin or something at around 20 hertz and 90 decibels. And here it is, and it's struck. Well, what you get also is a whole range of other frequencies. Now, what the brain hears is just this, or maybe some harmonics. Now, think of timbre if I draw a line that goes through all these, and then this big splotch here. That's the sound of that instrument. That's the sound of that cello. So different instruments or synths or whatever will have different looking splotches of frequencies. Now, what's really exciting about understanding the concept of timbre is that you can begin to think of individual sounds as clay that you can mold and sculpt into each other in a mix. For example, even though a vocalist is singing a pitch which has a high fundamental frequency, there could be lower tones that are weighing down a mix. And here's another interesting thing about timbre. Like pitch and loudness, it can be perceived differently depending on its context. So, and this is really important, in a mix, the timbre of an instrument, like the reason you like it, can sound much different when the instrument is listened to alone. So, with this understanding of timbre, you can decide how sharp or dull you want the song to feel. You can understand how dissonant or shiny and sine wavy. Basically, with an understanding of timbre, you can learn how to shape sound. For me, I realized the aesthetic quality of the song, or simply if I like it or not, depends primarily on the timbre, more so than the scale or harmony or chord melody even. So my fun musical adventure task for the summer is to find a whole bunch of different timbres I enjoy, like a funk guitar or a vocalist, and then try to replicate them with soft synths. So I hope that provided a bit of a better explanation of timbre. If I missed anything or was incorrect, please correct me. Thank you.